Welcome to the WILDFIT 6 Human Hungers webinar. My name is Wendy Peterman and I am a certified WILDFIT coach. So today you are in the right place if you've been through a number of diets and you're just feeling really frustrated that you try to follow all the rules, maybe the rules are hard to follow and you can't follow them and you just kind of give up, or you do follow all the rules and you get great results but you just can't maintain them. Also, maybe you feel powerless over food cravings. They just come, they take over, and you just don't feel like you can do anything about it. You can't follow the rules because the food cravings are just too strong. You just want to look in the mirror and feel confident with what you see, no matter what you see. Wouldn't it be great to feel confident in that? You would like to have better energy and better sleep, maybe better sex if you're into that, because those things tend to go together. Well, you could be in the right place for that then. So what we're going to learn in this video, we're going to understand our history of hunters and gatherers and how we could choose more of the right foods and less of the wrong foods for our bodies. Why diets seem to work for some people and just not at all for other people. How the sugar industry is influencing your cravings and how it's just not your fault, really. Especially what we're going to learn is about the 6 human hungers and how to never be hungry again. We're going to learn about why it's impossible to release weight if you're hungry. Starvation does not work. And how to create lasting results without willpower. So, biggest myths that tend to cause diets to fail. Number one is calorie counting. There isn't really anything especially useful about the quote-unquote 2,000 calorie diet and then deciding, maybe you're going to restrict and you're going to go 500 calories lower than that or whatever. Like maybe that's a little bit helpful for some people and only to a certain point, but really not everybody needs the same amount of calories or a certain amount of calories and that sort of thing. So that kind of math is not especially helpful. And also 1,000 calories of birthday cake is a lot different than 1,000 calories of broccoli in terms of its effect on your body. So it's more important what you're eating and not about counting the calories. Exercise is not a solution. It's a great thing. It's great for your heart and that sort of thing. It can help you and your cardiovascular system, but it's not going to fix all of the things that your poor diet is doing. So you can't just eat whatever you want and then go exercise yourself healthy. Some of us are exercising and exercising and exercising to the point of exhaustion and actually causing more problems and more stress in our bodies that it actually responds to by holding on to weight. Fasting to help you lose weight. If you fast for multiple days, you might lose some weight and then you'll probably put it back on because your body was cleansing and doing things and getting rid of cells and stuff like that that it didn't need. And then as soon as it starts having some nutrition again, it will start using that to build cells and build tissues and that sort of thing. That's not a bad thing. It's just that fasting is not a tool for losing weight. It's just a tool for healing. That you just need better willpower. You just need to be more disciplined and you just need to exercise more and eat less. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. There's so many complex things going on in our systems on the outside of us that are affecting us and our roles in them, things about our past and our individual bodies. And so it's not willpower that's actually making you do this. It is the way that the food industry and our addictions and things like that are actually leading us to behave. Using the word diet. So we'll talk about that on the next slide, which has this lovely elephant in its native environment looking at the kinds of foods that an elephant usually eats. And an elephant who eats in its native environment can live about 75 years. An elephant that goes and lives in a zoo and is fed straw and peanuts and things that are not elephant food only lives about 5 years. So just like that, humans, even though in captivity we can eat all kinds of junk that the food industry gives us and that our schools give us and that sort of thing, we can survive. It actually isn't ideal for our bodies, and we won't live as long and as happily and as well as we would if we were eating the things that our bodies really could use the best. So what is a human diet? The human diet is the things that were available in and around us when we were living in nature. So plants, wild meats, fruits, nuts, honey, things that are available in nature. So, of course, humans, before they became industrialized and started staying in cities and holding still a lot and growing a lot of grain and sugar and potatoes and starchy foods and storing them and processing them and all those things that have made complex, overgrown societies possible, we traveled around and we followed herds and we followed crops and we ate what was in season, what was available to us. So that is why we need seasonal variety in our diet. We need to sometimes take a break from things that wouldn't have been available in our natural environment. Right now, things are available year round in a lot of places due to refrigeration and shipping and all that kind of thing. And so our bodies are getting confused and constant messages that it's the same season all the time. So we need to learn to take breaks from them and rotate them and get the annual variety that would be natural for our bodies to receive. So, why it's impossible to lose weight when you're hungry. Starvation is not a solution. So, when you're hungry, your body gets a signal that it needs to hang on. It needs to hang on and protect you from starvation. Some people call that starvation mode. So, you actually are putting yourself in distress. You're sending some cortisol into your system that says we're going to starve, we're in danger, you need to hang on. We need all the fat cells we can to protect us from this. So starvation is not going to help you lose weight. Then there's the role of sugar. Sugar is what scientists are calling hyperpalatable. That means that our brains like the taste of it so much that we'll seek it out over everything else. And it also makes it so that we can't taste it when we're used to sugar and we're used to things being sweet and we're acclimated to that, we can't taste our other foods so well. So we don't even really know what they taste like, and they all kind of taste bad. So sugar is really evil in that way, I'll just say. And also, sugar tends to stimulate the reward centers of our brain. So we keep thinking like, yay, this makes me feel good. This, for a very brief period of time, this makes me feel good. This makes me feel happy. This makes me feel energized. And so we'll just keep wanting to hit that. What happens though is we end up with a lot of insulin in our systems and some inflammation and some things like that. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, but that causes one of the big hungers. So the average person in the world today eats around 150 pounds of sugar a year. That's an entire person, a little bit bigger than me, worth of sugar that they eat in the entire year, and mostly from sugary drinks and fruit juices. So here we are at the 6 human hungers. Well, this is how what we use in WILDFIT start to listen to our intuitive messages from our bodies about what it's really needing. Not listening to the media, not listening to the food industry, not listening to the sugar monster, but listening to our own bodies and what we really need. So the first hunger is actually thirst. Well, you're probably thinking that's not a hunger. Well, historically, in that hunter and gatherer time, it would have been because of our foods being fruits, like animal meat and root vegetables that we would have dug up from the ground would have had a lot of water in them, and our tissues would have gotten water from that. And since now we eat things that are mostly dried, they're dehydrated grains, starchy vegetables, things that are frozen, things that are overcooked, beans that are dry, all that kind of thing. We need to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. So quite often, this is happening to me right now, if we haven't had enough water, we might feel kind of stressed out. We might feel like we need to be eating something. We might get that, anxious feeling of like, I just need to eat, or some people call it an oral fixation or something like that because they're actually thirsty. So if we take care of our thirst, then that hunger goes away. Next is variety. I talked about the seasons and how we would have eaten seasonally. We would have been roaming around. There would have been different things available in our environment. And our bodies are actually made to get the things that they need, the vitamins and minerals and that sort of thing, over the course of a year. We don't need like them every day, like is in our recommended daily allowances or something like that. We need them over the course of the year, and our body uses them in a way that is, appropriately bio-releases them. And so what we really need to do is variety. We need to be keeping ourselves interested in trying different things and getting a good variety of different kinds of nutrients in our body. So sometimes when we're thinking like, I'm so tired of what I've been eating. I just want something else. I want this, I want that. What we're really looking for is some variety, and that's okay. It's just that we could make choices in that aren't bad for us. So another is low blood sugar. So I talked about the sugar and how, constantly putting sugar in our systems will actually keep our insulin levels pretty high. And our body tries to predict how much insulin we're going to need, and at certain times of the day, it releases that amount of insulin for us to use. And if we do that, then we'll get kind of panicky and maybe hangry and stuff like that if we don't eat something with sugar at that time of the day in order to use it up. So then we have a crash. We have a big crash and we think, oh my gosh, this is what happens when I get too hungry. This is what happens when I go too long without eating. It only happens if you go too long without eating sugar. And the only reason that it does that is because your body is dependent on that sugar. It's not really a natural thing to happen in your body. And if you could switch to more of a fat burning system than a sugar burning system, then it would have a more consistent level source of fuel and energy that it's made to use, and you wouldn't have those low blood sugar crashes. So emotional hunger, this one's so big and it's scary for people. They don't really want to be with their emotions quite often, quite often people were eating to numb things, it's scary maybe to feel the different things. And I'm not going to say it's scary to feel pain or it's scary to feel anger or it's scary to feel grief. Those are things people are often afraid of. But even people are afraid of experiencing their joy or allowing happiness and that sort of thing. So we tend to want to eat to not have to feel our feelings. And so a lot of our feelings and emotions that we're hiding are actually stored in our fat cells because they're trying to protect us, because we are signaling that our emotions are scary or bad or not good for us. And all they are is messages. They're just messages that are in there that if we can listen to them and feel them and then just let them pass through, we'll know what they meant to tell us. We'll know how to make choices based on those things, and then we don't have to eat them away. Okay, so the one that people usually identify as hunger when they say, I'm so hungry, is empty stomach hunger. We have been taught to equate, my stomach is growling, my stomach doesn't feel good, my stomach is a little unsettled, that sort of thing, with I'm hungry. And we've also been taught to ramp up our emotional response to this, to get whiny and cryy and angry and have all kinds of feelings about it because we need to eat. And the truth is that our stomachs were made to expand and contract to accommodate, running into some food and eating a lot of it, and then traveling for a while and not having food and having our stomach go back down, and then running into some more food and eating a lot of it, and then having our stomachs contract and go back down. So all it means when you have an empty stomach is that your stomach doesn't have a whole bunch of food in it, and that it might be cleaning itself or it might be repairing itself and that sort of thing. So just having an empty stomach in and of itself is not actually a real hunger. The only real hunger, according to WILDFIT, is nutritional hunger. And this means what your cells actually need in order to function optimally. They need all of the amino acids that it takes to build tissues, that it takes to build hormones, that it takes to build the chemicals, that it takes to build bone. And those things are not necessarily what we've been taught by our government in the food pyramid in our country. They're things that would have been available in our natural environment before we were industrialized. So in WILDFIT, what we're doing is we're learning the nutrition and what our bodies actually need to function optimally, how to meet all of the hungers so that you don't go hungry and you don't feel that stress and that high cortisol level that says you're in danger, you need to be protected, and therefore your fat cells need to hold on to things to protect you. They can release, we can let them out, we can detox, and then we can be really healthy. So that's the 6 human hungers again, and that is how we address all of these in WILDFIT, and then we can learn to eat intuitively and in a way that is more good for us than bad. So creating lasting results without willpower. Again, it is not about eating less and exercising more. eat less, move more is not really going to cut it. What we really need is to learn to meet all of those hungers and feel the energy that we get, the better sleep, the lack of pain, all of the wonderful results that we get from learning to put the good things in our body and treat our bodies well. And when we treat ourselves well, we can function and do so many more things in our lives that it's that why and that embracing that wonderful ability that we have to really function highly and optimally in our bodies that will keep us going and keep us in this lifestyle. It is not willpower. There's an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So we tend to do WILDFIT in a group coaching environment. There's a series of videos that people can watch to learn about the changes and about the intuitive eating and about the suggestions. And we like to do it together in a group so that we have support. So we do this at the beginning through a 90-day challenge. That's 13 weeks. There is a video series by our founder, Eric Edmeades, who walks everybody through the seasonal eating and learning to identify the 6 hungers and making gradual changes to help our physiology shift into a healthier, more fat-burning system. And then beyond that, you can continue to thrive in the community, learn from the community, try things out, and even get additional coaching. So to recap what we talked about why understanding our hunter-gatherer origins is really important to understanding the right way that the human body needs to eat, why diets tend to work for some people and then just not for other people, how the sugar industry contributes to our cravings and our inability to control our eating habits, and how the 6 hungers affect what we're hungry for, what we want to eat, and how we behave regarding food, why it's impossible to lose weight when you're hungry, and how to create lasting results without willpower. I have a challenge that is starting Monday, February 14th, and I'd be happy to have people join me. You can sign up at rewildwendy@gmail.com. Check your email for information. You can join the Facebook group, and in the meantime, don't change anything. Thank you.